Hello Year 1 and Year 2, welcome back to English Lessons Live with me, Mr. Phillips. Hope you're doing all right on this Thursday morning. Remember, your hashtags are hashtag St. Anne's Live if you're getting involved on social media, or if you're on Twitter, you can tag us at St. Anne's Rainhill. Thank you to all those people who have been doing that. It's been lovely to see pictures of you working and also pictures of your work as well, which is brilliant. If you want to email me pictures of your work so I can have a little look at it, then our email address is rsa.year6@3-saints.org.uk. So we're here again today for another reading lesson. And if you remember from last time, our reading lessons are split into 4 separate parts. We have the predict section, we have the clarify section, we have the question section, and we have the summary section. Just realised I've not put a little cloud there for our book title today. So we're going to be looking at those 4 sections for our text today. Now remember, if you've not got a copy of the story, go down into the description now and click on the link and it'll take you to Love Reading for Kids, where you can have an electronic copy of the text in front of you. Today I've gone electronic, I've got it on my laptop here so I can see it while we are reading. If you can't get hold of one or you're not able to get onto the site, maybe you've not made a membership yet, then obviously I'll be holding the camera to the screen today so you can see a few things, but try for next week to get yourself an account. So today we are looking at the book called Paolo. Spell that wrong straight away. Paolo, the Emperor of Rome. Just checking I spell emperor now. Not having a good spelling day already. We're only 5 minutes in. The Emperor of Rome. Now, this is a slightly trickier book. I've picked something that's a little bit more difficult, but don't panic because I'll help you all the way through it. If you ever need to pause to give yourself time or need to rewind to look at things, then absolutely do, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to predict what we think is going to happen in this story. Now, we know the title is Paolo, the Emperor of Rome. Straight away that might give some of you an idea of what it's about, but let me just show you the front cover just to give you a little bit of a clearer idea. So this here is the cover, Paolo, Emperor of Rome, and that is the picture we get on the cover. So just using the title and the front cover image, let's predict what we think this story is about. Now remember, we always start our predictions with I predict that. So I think that, I predict that. So, well, I know an emperor is a little bit like a king, and I know that Rome is a place. So maybe when it's saying Paolo, Emperor of Rome, it's talking about the king of Rome, the place. And Paolo is a name. So I think that it's possibly telling me that Paolo is the name of the king of Rome. Now, I'm looking at that picture and I'm seeing a dog drinking from a fountain. So maybe the dog steals something from the Emperor of Rome. Maybe the dog belongs to the Emperor of Rome. Maybe the dog is the Emperor of Rome. I don't know, what do you think? What do you predict is going to happen in this text? I predict that the dog steals something from the Emperor of Rome. That's why I think he's in the picture, and that's why I think the book's called Paolo, the Emperor of Rome. So I predict that the dog will steal something from the Emperor. Maybe some sausages or something like that. I predict that the dog will steal something from the emperor. What do you predict? If you haven't done it already, pause the video there and then write down or tell someone who's with you, what do you predict is going to happen in this book, Paolo, the Emperor of Rome? Okay, so now we've done that, now we've done our predict section, we can move on to reading it. So if you've got a copy, you can read along with me, and if not, keep your eyes on the screen and I will show you the copy that I've got on my laptop. Now, it might be a bit fuzzy because I'm showing you through the phone on the laptop, but I'll do my best to read it to you as well, okay? And we'll have a little look at the picture. So let's swap this around. Here it is. So this is our first page. It says, "Ah, Rome, the eternal city, a place of fountains, food and music, a place of chaos and beauty, above all, a place of freedom." It does look very nice, doesn't it? That's the city of Rome. Next page. But not for Paolo. Paolo lived confined in a small, basic salon on Viterno. Often he would press his nose against the window, captivated by the bustle on the sidewalks. As you can see there, he's looking outside to see what's happening, but he is trapped inside a hair salon, so a hairdresser's, and he's not really allowed out. "Get away from there, Paolo. Signora Piano..." Ooh, what's her name? Piano Estrada. We'll just call her Senorita. "Get away from there, Paolo," Senorita would shout. "You're smudging the glass." Oh, so she's not being very nice to him, is she? All night, Paolo dreamed of the sweet life in Rome, and all day he did the same. There was not much else to do in the salon. "Lazy Paolo," said Senorita. Oh, so he's dreaming of all the exciting things he could do if he was able to leave the salon, but he's not allowed. But Senorita just says he's lazy. Sometimes the Signora would open the door to sweep a pile of ladies' hair out onto the street. Paolo would run over, his nails clicking on the tile floor, but then the Signora would block the exit by simply lifting her foot. On these occasions, Paolo could just poke his nose outside and sniffing smell all the smells of Rome. Salty, sour, meaty, floury. That's all Paolo got of liberty's whiff. So I'm trying to read it through my phone there. Let me just double check. Salty, sour, meaty, floury. That's all Paolo got of liberty, a whiff. Won't read it through my phone on the laptop again. Big mistake. Here we go. "Oh, but one glorious day there was a breach. The widow Garibaldi arrived for her weekly appointment, failed to shut the door behind her." So someone's come in for her weekly hair appointment and she's not shut the door behind her. Paolo waited for the mistake to be discovered, but already the Signora was putting curlers in the widow's hair. Should he? Could he? He did. Paolo was free. And that's all we're going to read. That's the extract. There is more if you want to read it. It's quite a lot more, actually, to be honest. But that's the only bit of the extract that we're going to read today. So Paolo has managed to get himself free of his sad life in the salon. There we go. That's a lovely book, despite my awful, awful reading of it. So there's quite a few difficult words. I did tell you, didn't I? I did tell you it's going to be quite a difficult one. So there's a few really tricky words in there. We've got the general gist of the story, but there are a few tricky words that I want to have a little look at. I've picked 4 for us to have a little look at. The first one is the word chaos. It said it's a city of chaos and beauty. The next one is the word confined. Oh, confined. It said that Paolo was confined inside the salon. It also says the word liberty. When it was listing the smells, it said it could smell salty and sour and meaty and floury, and that's the only smell of liberty that he got. And then finally, there is the word of breach. It said one day there was a breach. Now, if you don't know what any of those words mean, that does not matter at all, because I'm going to tell you. But if you think you do know what 1 or 2 or maybe even all of those words mean, why don't you pause the video now and write down next to it what you think it might mean. Doesn't matter if you're wrong, just have a little go. If you're not sure, just leave the video playing. Okay, so the first one is chaos. It said it was a city of chaos and beauty. Well, chaos is lots of things happening at once, and normally it's quite a negative word. It's almost like madness. If there's lots of chaos in the classroom, there's lots of running about and there's lots of shouting and there's lots of moving, okay? So it's almost like madness. There's lots of activity happening. Okay, so it's very, very busy, normally wildly busy. It's not ordered and sensible, it's wildly busy. So if there's chaos, there's lots going on, and it's normally quite wild and quite mad. Next one is confined, and it's said that Paolo was confined inside the hair salon, and he just pressed his nose up against the glass to see. So confined means to be trapped or to be shut away somewhere. You might say that, at night time, I've got a cat, and at night time, my cat is confined to the sitting room. He's shut away in the sitting room. He's not allowed around the rest of the house. You might say that your toys are confined to your bedroom. They're shut away in your bedroom. They're not allowed out everywhere. So confined means to be shut somewhere or to be forced to be somewhere. Confined. Liberty. Now it's said that he could only smell liberty. That's the only thing he could do. He just had to smell it. Now liberty actually means freedom, to be free. So when it was saying that he was smelling liberty, it meant he was smelling freedom, to be outside. So liberty is to be free. If you get your liberty, it means you get your freedom. You can do what you like. And at the end of our extract, Paolo did get liberty, didn't he? He was freed. And last one is breach. And it said one day there was a breach. And a breach basically means like an escape. There was a breach in security. There was an escape. Something managed to get out. If you imagine a pipe, sometimes if a pipe has a hole in it and water is escaping, we might call that a breach in the pipe. So breach is like escape. Whew, those are some tricky words, aren't they? Goodness me. So chaos means lots of things happening and very, very mad. Confined means to be closed and shut away. Liberty means to be free and freedom. And breach means to escape. So those are just some new words that you might have learnt there. And they're all really good words, aren't they? So now we have predicted what we think is going to happen. We've clarified some vocabulary. We've read our book. And now it's time to answer some questions. Are we ready? Remember, you don't have to write the question down. You just need to write what you think the answer is. Okay, so listen carefully. Your first question is, number 1, what did Paolo spend all day doing? What did Paolo spend all day doing? Ooh, let's have a little think. Need to go back to the text and check for an answer. If you think you know what Paolo spent all day doing, pause the video there and then write your answer down. What did he spend all day doing? Should we have a little look in the text and see if we can find the answer? Come back over here with me. Let's have a little look. So that's not on the first page, is it? And it wouldn't be on the very last page when he escaped. So it's probably in this middle page somewhere. So let's have a quick scan. So maybe it was looking out of the window. Actually, it says there that it says he often looked out of the window. But that's not all the time. That's not all day, is it? So maybe it's not that. Now, on this page, it's just the woman telling Paolo he's smudging the glass. So nothing there about what he does all day. About this one. All night, Paolo dreamed. Oh, well, we want what happened all day. Let's carry on reading anyway. All night, Paolo dreamed of the sweet life in Rome, and all day he did the same. All day he did the same. So he did the same as he did in the night time. So at night time, all night he would dream, and he would dream all day too. So the answer to What did Paolo spend all day doing? It's dreaming. And what was he dreaming about specifically? He was dreaming about being free, dreaming about life in Rome. Perfect. So number one, he spent all day dreaming about life in Rome. Now, Rome is a place, so we need to give it a capital letter. Dreaming about life in Rome. Fantastic. Well done if you got that answer right. Ready for number two? Number two is, in your own words, how did Paolo escape? How was Paolo able to escape? Right, well, if you think you can remember, or you've got the text in front of you, you can go back and check, because that's allowed as well. If you can tell me how Paolo escaped, write that down for me now. Pause the video and you can write that down for me now. Okay, so I'm going to use my really good reader's brain here. Now, I'm not going to go back to the beginning of the text because I remember that Paolo escaped right at the end of our extract. So the answer to how did Paolo escape is probably going to be at the end of our extract, isn't it? So let's have a little look. So let's go to the last page. So here, right, well, he's already escaped there. So let's go back one page. How did he escape? Oh, but one glorious day there was a breach. Well, I know that means escape now, so it's probably around here. The widow Garibaldi arrived for her weekly appointment, failed to shut the door behind her. Paolo waited for the mistake to be discovered, but already the signora was putting curlers in the widow's hair. Should he? Could he? He did. So, in our own words, how did Paolo escape? Well, the widow, Garibaldi, or we could just say the lady, came in for an appointment and she forgot to close the door. And Paolo escaped through the door because it was left open. Fantastic. And Signora, the woman who looks after him, didn't notice. She was too busy with her customer doing her hair that she didn't notice that the door hadn't been closed properly. So, that's quite a lot of information. I don't think we need to write all of that down. The question was, how was Paolo able to escape? Well, he could escape because the door was left open. And we could say, if we wanted to, by a customer. The door was left open by a customer. Lovely. How was Paolo able to escape? The door was left open by a customer. Amazing. Now, so far, we've had a hard book to read, we've had hard words to clarify, and now I'm going to give you quite a tricky question to do. But don't panic, just follow along. If you don't get the answer right, or if you can't think of the answer, it's not a problem. You can just watch how I do it. So your third question is, what sort of person is Signora? Now, I couldn't even read her name, but we're going to call her Signora. What kind of a person? Now, this is the kind of question we do in year 6. So you're doing amazingly having a go at it in year 1 and year 2. I'm going to show you how we can start answering questions like this. What sort of person is Signora? And what we want to do is tell us what kind of person she is and find some evidence from the text to back it up, almost like a detective. If you're going to come to a conclusion as a detective and solve the crime, you have to have evidence, and it's the same here. So, do we think that Signora is a nice person? I can't really think of any evidence in the text that would suggest she was a nice person. Do we think she's a kind person? Well, I don't think so. She calls Paolo lazy and she stops him from going outside. So I don't think that would make her a kind person. What kind of person do you think Signora, the lady who looks after Paolo, is? And can you think of something that she does in the story that is evidence for that? If you think you can, pause the video there and write it down. So, she's not a happy person, and she's certainly not a kind person. I would say she's probably a mean person, or an unkind person, or a bit of a grumpy person. You might have a different word, but they're all not very good words, are they? She's a bit grumpy, she's a bit mean, she's a bit unkind. I'm going to go with the word unkind. That's the one I'm going to go for. It doesn't matter if you've got a different one. I'm going to go with the word unkind. So number 3, what kind of person is Signora? Number 3, she is unkind. And now I'm going to add on the magic word that makes this answer even better, because. Can you think of an example of something Signora did in the text, in the book, that was unkind? I can. I remember well, I'll tell you what, come back, and we'll have a little look. We'll have a little search for things she did that was unkind. So we first meet her on this page, and the first thing she says is, "Get away from there, Paolo, you're smudging the glass." So the first unkind thing she does is tell Paolo off for looking outside. That's not very nice, is it? We next see her over here, and she's stopping Paolo from going outside. Now, you could say that was unkind, but if you've got a dog, you might also say this is quite responsible, because you don't really want your dog running around outside. So you could say that was unkind, but other people might argue it's not unkind. And then here, well, she actually doesn't do anything unkind there. She's just looking to her customer, isn't she? So I would say our choices were between telling Paolo off for looking outside. Oh, actually, no, we've missed one here. Lazy Paolo, says Signora. So she calls him lazy. That's a little bit unkind as well, isn't it? So actually, we think we have 3 choices. So your choices are, she shouts at Paolo for him looking outside, she calls him lazy, and she doesn't let him go outside. I'm going to go for calling him lazy, because it's never very nice to call someone lazy. I think that's extremely unkind. So I'm going to add that. She is unkind because she called Paolo, and Paolo's a name, so I'm going to put a capital letter. She called Paolo, sorry, not very neat handwriting. She called Paolo lazy. There we go. Well done. So there you go, you've had a go at answering a year 6 comprehension question. They get asked those kind of questions. What kind of character do you think this person is? And to give evidence. So well done. So we've predicted, we've read the book, we've clarified, and now we've answered some questions. So it's time to do our last section, which is the summary section. Now I've got a bit of a different summary task for you this time. I would like you, at a little space on your piece of paper, to draw me a picture. Now, I want the picture to be of the moment in the extract, the moment in the book that we've read, that you think is the most important bit. So what do I think the most important bit is? Well, the most important bit could be when Paolo is sniffing outside, because it means he wants to go outside. You might think the most important bit is when he's dreaming of Rome, and because that shows how much he wants to get there. You might think the most important bit is when he actually escapes. I think the most important bit is when he's dreaming of Rome. Now, So I'm going to draw that picture. So I might draw a little dog there. Now I am not renowned for my art skills, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. Little dog there. Actually, he's probably lying down, shouldn't he, because he's asleep. Never mind. I'll put some Zs there to show that he's asleep. Maybe we're looking from above. And then he's going to have some thought bubbles like I've drawn up here. I'm going to draw a big one. And then in that one, I'm going to draw a picture of the city. I'll draw lots of buildings. The city of Rome. I might even put Rome in there. So the input moment that I think is the most important is when Paolo was dreaming of Rome. So for your summary, can you draw a picture of the moment that you think is most important in the story that we've read today? So we've predicted, we've read, we've clarified, we've done some questions, and now you've summarised the book that we've read. Well done. If you would like to, you should definitely read the rest of that book or get someone to read it for you, because you've got quite a few extra pages, I think, on there. Yeah, you've got another at least 2 pages to go. And if you'd like to, maybe someone at home with you would do a little bit of research into Rome so you can see what Rome looks like and why Paolo was so keen to get out there and explore. Thank you so much for being with me this week. Remember, if you've got any work, you can send it to me at rsa.year6@3-saints.org.uk. And remember, there is no lesson tomorrow, there's no lesson on a Friday, so we'll be back at 11 o'clock on Monday to carry on with our writing. See you later, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Bye, 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 bye.